seen it happen. You're a child and then you're an adult, you pursue your degree, you get your job, and instead of getting out of your parents' house and living on your own, you decide, you know what, I'ma also bring my family to grow up here. I liked it so much, let's make it a second generation type thing, you know? And this has become, unfortunately, very common. And I say it here on the show so many times. Before, people used to know 18, you're out. Like, once you're 18 years old, you're an adult, you're out. But nowadays, simply because you gave birth to this child and they're yours, you assume that they will leave at 18, but the chances of them leaving at 18 are very, very low. In fact, sometimes minuscule and never happens. I actually did stay home for quite a while as well I went back home after I had moved out. I went back home and I was still in my early 20s, but I still figured it out and I got out of there because that's my parents' home. It's not my house, it's my childhood home, but I am no longer a child. Therefore, my adulthood home should be somewhere else. So the conversation of when exactly children need to be moving out. Also, why are you 30 and being called a child? Some of these things are wait up to kadadi, kababa, kamami, kamama, and you expect them to leave. They're never going to leave your house. But legally, is there anything that can be done to get children out of the house? Can parents legally chase away their adult children? What an interesting situation. And as a parent, I would like to ask you, what happens if your child refuses to move out after they're 18, 19, 20? What's your reaction?
Honestly, that's not even an age to kick your child out. It's first of all addressing when does parental legal responsibility end. Your child turning 18 does not make them an adult. They've just finished high school. What do you mean I send them out into the world to figure it out on their own? Under the law, you still need to take care of them as they're in university. After university, intern halipwi, they are still under your care. And that's the big disconnect I used to have with my parents, because I'm like, I'm not making money, You just can't lift your hands and say you're an adult now, figure it out. And unfortunately, a lot of babes find themselves in a situation where you go for the easy way out. Instead of doing like my promo jobs after school and all of this small jobs to sustain yourselves, you'll find somebody, akona mbaba, because it's somebody to just supplement my income. Most of the time, I just need a daddy, okay? I just need a father figure because my father has said I am an adult, I should figure it out. But under the law, under Children's Article 53 of the Constitution, parents must provide for their children with shelter, food, and care. And the responsibility does not end at the age of 18. You do everything you can to give your child the leg up. Personally, I am not really in a rush to kick my children out of the house. You're done with university. Okay, what next? You're looking for jobs. Cool. Your first jobs. Do you want to stay a few months until you see if you want to leave? I'm not really in a rush to kick people out and to have an empty nest. But that's just me. But also understand, from a parent's perspective, it's about tough love. The world is difficult out there, so let me prepare you. We've seen stories about American teenagers who parent. And I'm like, what do you mean parent? Just because I have a side gig or, I go bag groceries at the end of the day or for a few hours of school, my parent is now asking for my small pockets money? It's the ghetto out there.
I also do see the point of parents trying to give that tough love. I see it because the world is not easy. And you can't always...
You don't have to be coddled and,
yes. But at the same time, if I can't run home to my mama and cry, where can I run? Okay? Where is, in whom's hands are we safe? The streets out here are crazy. You're telling your kids, get out. You're now 18. You figure it out. Joven Utalipia campus. And you're hearing the crime rate and the levels to which women are being abused out here, the gender-based violence that's out here, and you're telling your 18-year-old daughter ende ajipange. Are you serious? Unasikia forex na sim tu imekuwa a big issue. where people are being manipulated into doing sexual favors in order for them to get, allegedly, in order for them to get these opportunities to work and to get earn a living as a young man. And they're just like, yeah, where the kijana enda? Men, in fact, are supposed to be out in battle. Whoa. It's hella problematic. And speaking about tarmacking, because it's unfortunately very, very serious a situation right now, hustler mentality and hustler culture is what we do nowadays, because it's practically impossible for you to get a job nowadays, regardless of the credentials that you may have. It can be very difficult for you to find a well-paying job that can sustain you. People have multiple jobs that they're doing at a time in order for them to be able to do this. So there is no law, according to Mr. Omari, or to Honorable Omari. He says there is no law that will compel a parent to provide accommodation for these children who are not in school. However, parents still choose to host them, but only out of goodwill, not legal duty. And in my mind, I'm like, are parents looking for ammunition to kick their kids out? Like, what's going on? Why is this even a conversation? But hey, if you are a parent who's trying to kick out your kid, yeah, you don't owe them anything apparently after they're done with school. They're on their own. So I guess you have legal loophole there that you can kick your kids out. Yeah.
Legally, if you decide, okay, now I have a job, now I have some money, but I don't want to leave my mama's house. Okay, legally you still cannot be evicted. I mean, your mother can say, wewe, you need to leave. Your father can say, ng'ombe wawili watoshe zizi moja. Things can get uncomfortable, but legally, unfortunately, your parents cannot evict you, even though you're an adult living at home, just being a buju. But on the flip side, there are also parents who just don't want to let go.
Girl.
And that's okay, unless it's a prison situation. If you feel like as if you're being held in prison, inafika 6:30 unapigiwa and someone, oh, uko wapi? Like, girl, I'm an adult. Y'all need to figure yourselves out. But all we're saying is, I think parents should be okay with allowing their children to stay home. I've seen people move into, my first house was just like a bed sitter with a mattress on the floor and 2 vibuyus. But that peace of mind was better than anything else. And I'm just like, that is such a sad situation. But I also understand your parent is anxious. They're like, you're always here. How will you figure, what will you do when I'm gone? You know, that pressure of, if I die today, would my child survive or would they suffer? So let me put you out into the world. I don't think it's a good solution. If you can support your child, please do. But also have boundaries. Don't coddle your child, but at the same time, let them go. Let them figure it out.
Yeah, there are still mama's boys and baby girls who are daddy's girls. That kind of thing still exists, and that's a problem. At that point, we are toting the line of, okay, yeah, no, you're doing too much. But if you have connection and your culture allows it and your parents have the capacity to take care of you, because of the shrinking job market, because of the inability for people to fast track their lives as much as they used to back then, the line was very clear. Go to school, get your degree, you will have a job. Okay? That was a very clear direction in which life would take. But nowadays, it doesn't work like that. It is not the same. It is not a straight line. You have to figure it out. So if you have the capacity to support your children as they're going through this thing, help them, support them, be the ones who help them out. Another thing called black tax. It makes absolutely no sense that your kid just got a job. They just got a job and you're over there telling them, oh, nani alifanya nini, wakafanya nini, ikapanda ikashuka, you need some money from them. And it now becomes a responsibility that you know how much they earn and you demand like half their salary, regardless of whatever the amount it is. You demand for it at the end of every month. That's so wrong. And I always find it very uncomfortable to think about it, because I've just gotten this job. If I am able to scrounge up the little that I have and build, I can be able to make bigger and better, and I can take care of you better by choice. However, when you're taking up the little that I have, mooching off the little that I have, all I'm thinking about is when am I going to make my it becomes very difficult to think. You know, it's very difficult for you to think and to get stable as quickly as you should, simply because you have to figure out how to pay your parents. Black tax is a whole thing. I do not advocate for it. until I am able to be at least financially stable enough that I can be able to send it back to you. And oftentimes, children don't neglect their parents, right? If I work and I'm able to get to a point where I have a disposable income that I can send to you, imagine children not naturally just send it to you. As a thank you, mom, thank you, dad, for taking care of me, for doing this thing, for helping me get to where I am. It's a thank you. It's not an obligation to take care of you, that you're taking your kids to school so that they can be able to pay for your bills later on. They are your investment plan. That's not right. It's very, very unfair.
Yeah.
But ultimately, according to Mr. Omari, there is nothing in the law. Nothing in the law dictates how to deal with this. So you deal with it depending on your family. It's like a per family, per sibling, per child situation. So you choose how you want your children to live and how you want your legacy to be. And work hard so that your children don't have to really be frantic about, oh, I need to move out, I need to make money. Like if I'm a multimillionaire, my child isn't worried about that. They're worried about how to either multiply, or they're just worried about living their best lives. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. You've worked hard for their better future. So that's the piece of advice. Do with your children what you will, but know that the world is not an easy one. So if you leave them out to the wolves are gonna eat. My name is Kathomi Kathomi. See you tomorrow.
And if you're having children, have children because you want children, not because it's a tough economic time and one day one might become president. That is such a flawed way of thinking, okay? Have children you can take care of. My name is Tarife. Have a lovely evening.